Hopefully. Welcome to everybody who's now just joining the live. Hopefully everything's going good today. In terms of like all of the technical side. I'm hoping we don't, fingers crossed, we don't have any issues today. But you truly do never know. So I guess we'll have to wait and see to see how everything goes. Here we go. Sweet. Okay, everything should be good. Hello! Got some people joining. How's everybody doing on this fine day and or night or evening or whatever? I gotta start it every time. Paleo Pizza, I tell you about sea scorpions. You know full well I don't know enough about sea scorpions, okay? I know they were big. There were some big ones. There were some big sea scorpions. I could tell you that for free. But that is about the extent of it. Hello, everybody. Welcome. For everybody who's joining now, welcome. Going pretty well right now. Still doing it on my phone because I don't trust studio on my computer anymore. So we're still doing it on my phone using a lav mic. Should be all right. Should all be all right, you know. Me when I see scorpions. I'm doing good. I'm doing good today. Today has been a pretty busy day overall. I got a lot of video related things done. Been talking to a lot of different people about getting certain collaborations done and things like that. It's been pretty busy, but pretty good overall. What is the most accurate Deinonychus? That's a good question. There's, in terms of like big mainstream like media depictions, there, what's going on in there? There hasn't really been any that are too incredibly accurate. Most of them, like the most accurate ones, you'll probably find in maybe Path of Titans or maybe even on Wobbly Works on YouTube. They did a really good one. Um, yeah, there's like Life on Our Planet. They did better. They did a better one, but they're the one on Life on Our Planet had like the outdated skull shape, uh, which it's not bad when it's like looked at from afar, but like when you get into the more minute details, it's not like good as good as some other depictions of other dromaeosaurs. There's some big sea scorpions, some small sea scorpions trying to be land scorpions, scorpions hiding nanotyrannus evidence. Ah, yes. Lakota, how we doing, man? Life on Our Planet is a good dino. Yeah, it's decent. It's a decent Deinonychus. It's just it still does have some like I like the feathers. The feather portrayal is really good, but it's just that skull is what really bugs me because it's got that outdated like triangular Deinonychus skull. When the one in real life had a skull that was a little bit more like a closer to a Velociraptor, not quite, but still closer. Is Utah Raptor confirmed to be the biggest raptor? Currently, yes. There is a runner-up for that. I can't remember the name of it, but there's potentially a huge dromaeosaur that could have been bigger than Utah Raptor. We just don't know quite yet. Is it possible for some sauropods to have small hairs like some elephants do? I'm of the mindset that I wouldn't be surprised if all dinosaurs had some type of feathering in some way, shape, or form. Sure, gosh, I can't speak. In some way, shape, or form, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. So if we still have yet to find hair on any reptiles, period. So that's a little bit more unlikely than like feathers or something like that. Was good, man. And yeah, I am biased because I have the skull of Dromaeosaurus and it looks a lot like that one. It does, doesn't it? It looks a lot more like a Dromaeosaurus. Noah, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, man. You're always on top of that. I noticed, and I noticed you followed the Patreon too. You are killing it, man. Hey, Dino Guy, I never realized how big Shantungosaurus was compared to Edmontosaurus regalis. Oh, heck yeah. Honestly, these are kind of close to scale. If we look at where is... One second. So here we have the Halangood Shantungosaurus, and then here we have the PNSO Edmontosaurus. If you consider this Edmontosaurus to be Edmontosaurus annectens, this is actually pretty close to how big they would have been in real life, with Shantungosaurus being larger than Edmontosaurus regalis, or sorry, annectens, which is crazy. But you mentioned regalis. If it's bigger than annectens, then it's significantly bigger than regalis, because regalis is, of course, a smaller species of Edmontosaurus. See, Lakota, Dino Guy reads our messages. I do, Lakota. I do. I haven't even caught one of your lives in a while. Question: I realized the penguins had necks, but it's covered by in the big, little, fat. So did long neck dinosaurs have the same thing? Probably not. So the penguins, they have a lot of like extra reserves to keep them warm. They also have a lot of feathers. Sauropods probably didn't have that because that would be that would create an overheating problem. Big animals have a lot of issues overheating. So if you give something like a sauropod that much extra like fat or muscle or feathers, that would probably make it overheat way quicker than it would have anyway. So it's a pretty safe bet that they didn't have something like that. Touche, biology. Then again, he doesn't have to crane his head up 90 degrees to see chat. Brachiosaurus penguin themed. Yeah. Oh, Dino Guy, what's up? I've had a lot of hard times since the one dude was spamming a bunch of negative stuff about Primitive War in your spoiler-free review. There was someone spamming a bunch of negative stuff in my spoiler-free review? I didn't even see that. I'm going to have to go and check that out now. I know that not everybody liked the movie, and I know that some of them were vocal about it, but I didn't know that anyone was spamming anything. Checking right now. Oh, I see. Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, I see. Very vocal, huh? I did not know that. I might have to hide the user from the channel because I don't like people being rude like that. I think the Primitive War has a global release soon. They should. They just posted that thing. They tagged me in it. They tagged me in all of that stuff. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I can't do anything. But yeah, I think that they are. In your biased opinion, who would you think would win, a Utah Raptor or a Kodiak Bear? Well, that depends. How much does a Kodiak Bear weigh? Kodiak Bear, Kodiak Bear. Kodiak Bear, adult male, measures 8 feet, 133. Wild male weighed 751 kilograms or 1656 pounds. So Kodiak Bear is probably heavier than a Utah Raptor, so I'd give it to the Kodiak Bear. I always go for whoever's heavier. Paleopod crew needs a cameo in the sequel. We do, and we all need to get eaten. Like, we just show up for 2 minutes and then we get eaten. That's it. Could just be random soldiers in the background. Bears destroy Utah Raptors like the armor from the fur, the ferocity, and claws. It's ridiculous how crazy bears are. Yeah, honestly, yeah, like you said, especially with how bulky bears can be and how lightly built dromaeosaurs are, it probably wouldn't really be a fair fight, all things considered. Steel helmet and sword, or fight a mother grizzly with a revolver in one shot? I think I'd rather fight the Utah Raptor. I feel like I'd have a better shot with them. With bears, you have to, like, with a revolver especially, you have to shoot them in the exact right spot. Otherwise, it's over. Oh, are we lagging? I hope we're not lagging. It looks fine on my end, so I hope we're doing okay. Hope we're not lagging. Be really quite sad if we were. Did plant eaters eat meat when plants die? Well, they wouldn't really have to do it if plants died. Plant eaters today eat meat regardless. I don't know if you've seen any videos out there, but there's like some videos out there of like deer eating birds. There's some videos of like horses eating like chicks, cows eating bones and eating snakes and stuff like that. Sometimes herbivorous animals will eat something of the meat variety to help supplement their diet. It's not, they don't do it all the time, but it does happen from time to time. And because it happens all the time in nature today, there's no reason to think that it didn't happen all the time in nature in the past. So, yeah, Triceratops could be walking around, come across like a dead dead juvenile T-Rex or something, and then it would take a bite out of it. It's not too bad, just jittering a bit here and there. Hopefully it doesn't. YouTube Studio's something else, man. Am I hyped about Chaos Theory Season 4? I am. I am hyped about Chaos Theory Season 4. I can't wait to see what they do with it. What about the IMAX T-Rex? Do you watch it? How accurate is that T-Rex interpretation? I did watch it. I watched it a year ago with my wife and daughter. And it was good. It's short. It's another type of documentary that goes back and forth between like the past and the present. Like you'll get some footage of the animals in the past that'll be CGI, and then you'll go to the present, and then they'll talk about certain things. And yeah, no, it's that's pretty much what the documentary is. The T-Rex portrayal was pretty good. There was a lot of really good things about it. They mentioned the fact that T-Rex was likely opportunistic, both hunted and scavenged. It wasn't an obligate scavenger, which is always really good. It had some really good other creature portrayals, like Edmontosaurus was in it briefly, and that was pretty cool. The Anzu was in it. Anzu hardly ever shows up in anything. I'm just hoping that eventually we get like a DVD release or something like that, because I only watched it once in theaters. And I'd like to watch it again. Why didn't dinosaurs evolve saber teeth? Well, who says they didn't? They might have, honestly. We just don't really have any evidence for it, and we don't really have any any reason to think that any of them did. That just kind of like falls under speculative territory. In Primitive War, I saw that Quetz had a weird spiked tongue. Would that not be accurate? I mean, there's probably no reason for them to have something like that. Similar to storks, they probably just use their beak mostly rather than using a spiky tongue. That's mostly just for a terrifying thing in the book/movie. How do you think a person would fare against a small dromaeosaur in full chainmail? With full chainmail, they'll probably they'd probably have a better chance of surviving at the very least. Not me though. I probably wouldn't win no matter what. What's the biggest dinosaur that I could beat in a fight? A hummingbird. I got my butt kicked by seagulls, all right? So I'm probably not even... A hummingbird would probably take me out too. Do you have any advice or knowledge about studying paleontology to become a paleontologist? I've wanted to do it my whole life. I just didn't know if you had any tips or knew what I would have to do. I mean, school's expensive. I can tell you that. As someone who's still trying and struggling to get through school and having to deal with all of those school expenses, it is expensive. I am currently involved with paleontological related things without completing school. Like, I am currently volunteering at the Morrison Museum, and I'm getting a lot of work over there done. I work with other paleontologists all the time to help me out with my videos and stuff like that, and I talk with a lot of them. You could potentially get into paleontology without having to do completed a degree, as long as you're just willing to put in the work. And volunteering is really the best way to do it nowadays. And just also keep in mind there's been a lot of amateur paleontologists out there as well. The dude who discovered baryonyx was an amateur paleontologist. He didn't even have a degree in the field. So while I am still going through school to try to get that accomplished, I am still in the field of paleontology currently. I'm also a science communicator, and so that keeps me in the field. But yeah, so you don't necessarily have to go through that, the expensive side of that being school, because school is just crazy expensive. I've been on and off with school. I've had to stop. I had to stop going to school for a few times over the years simply because of the expenses. It's ridiculous. But I am still in it. The beating a dinosaur in a fight question is always funny because I've gotten run down by squirrels. Exactly. That's exactly my thing. I don't even think I could beat a hummingbird, Probably. Oh, man. I don't know. I play fight with my dog all the time. Maybe that counts. Did I see that they're adding... I can't pronounce it, but I know the pterosaur you're talking about in Jurassic World Evolution 3. I did. It was leaked. That's interesting. At least it's a new pterosaur. I'm sad about Dinokairos, though. Sorry about that. The guy you hid has been hating on the film, copying and pasting stuff from his Facebook to promote his own Facebook account. Plus, he's one to complain he's into cryptozoology. Oh, really? Yeah, no, I don't know why I didn't see those. I did see some of the comment. I saw one of his comments, but I'm getting to the point where it's like if someone's like outwardly like trying to like be mean to me or something, I just kind of like ignore it, ignore the comment. So that probably why. Have I tried using FAFSA to pay for school? Yes. Only problem with that is that it didn't cover everything, especially based off of your household income. And because I've had to stop going to school a few times because of my job and because of the expenses, I had to like redo the whole application process, and then they don't cover a few of my credit hours, which is always frustrating. It's just a huge, lengthy process. If I never end up getting my degree, that's completely fine because I am still working in the field right now. The hard part about paleontology is that it's not a job that makes you a lot of money. You're basically paying for a degree in your hobby. I'd love to be a paleontologist too, but I can't live off of it. That is also true. There's not it's definitely not the highest paying job out there, you know. Currently the only way that I'm making money off of like doing dinosaur related things is through YouTube and through TikTok. I am volunteering at the museum. You know, I don't get paid for that, which is fine, you know, because it's something I care about. But yes, it is difficult to try to make a living off of paleontology alone. But it's a sad world that we live in, that you can't do things that you like simply because it doesn't pay enough. But always find a way to do it, no matter what. That's my thing. Please, 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 anybody tell me how I can send him a picture of my Triceratops knee bone. I will send it to you. You could probably put it in the Discord. I try to check the Discord, but I've been getting really busy recently, so I haven't had the chance to check the Discord as much as I want to. But you can always try to send it in that, and hopefully I'd see it. Does early mastoid snake, jeez, constrict and tear its prey for swallowing pieces like anacondas for movie scenes where anaconda constricts and rips a person in half? I honestly don't know. I don't know enough about like earlier snakes. What do you think if dinosaurs came back to life, and how would we integrate them into modern society? They would have to be like theme park attractions. I think that part is kind of like spot on with Jurassic Park, because if you try to introduce these animals into the wild, I do not see things going well. Those are huge invasive species that they are completely different from the types of animals that live today. You know, they're so the environmental impact that they would have would be insane, would just be absolutely insane. So I don't really see it going well. Noah, thank you. And thoughts on Marapuniasaurus? See, I don't know if I know that one. Do I know this one? Oh, it looks like a sauropod. Oh, I just saw its vertebrae. It might be dubious. Let me click on the link real quick. Yeah, it's a dubious genus. Yes, I just saw its vertebrae at the Dinosaur Ridge. A huge vertebrae. You know, it's a possible sauropod that lived in the Morrison Formation, but I think it's currently dubious and possibly synonymized with another dinosaur. Let me see if I can find which dinosaur it's potentially synonymized with, because it's probably a diplodocid that it's been synonymized with. Let me figure it out. I don't know. Originally named Amphiochelys fragilis, sometimes estimated to be the largest dinosaur, but it's currently dubious. Interesting. A lot of information on it, but yeah, no, it wasn't its true vertebrae. It was a cast of the vertebrae, but it was huge. You wouldn't believe it. It was this massive, massive vertebrae. What does dubious mean? It just means that like the name is not really favored currently, basically. Like Troodon was dubious for a little bit. It was a nomen dubium, which means that like trying to name it and use it in a classification sentence is not really ideal. Would you ever make or support a dinosaur theme park / zoo? Do you think it's ethical? Well, probably not. Like, if we brought back these animals that were already extinct and then just forced them to live in a confined area, that probably wouldn't be ideal. Do you really believe that T-Rex can reach 10 to 11 tons on average based on Dempsey's research paper on Dino Size Update? I don't understand math, and he used a lot of math in that paper, so I don't know if I agree with it or not. But all I know is that it's very difficult for predatory animals to get to be big because it takes a lot of energy to be a big animal, and then it means you have to eat a lot to keep yourself going, and that means T-Rex would have to be hunting constantly if it was 10 to 12 tons or even 15 tons, as some people think it could have potentially gotten. But mathematically speaking, they're saying it's possible, statistically speaking, especially if we're getting all of the average. But it's difficult to say. With paleontology, it's always difficult to say. The best bet is if you get actual fossil evidence, and we don't even know if the biggest specimen's ever fossilized. So it's always going to be difficult. Would sauropods get bigger if they never died out? Probably not. I think that like, again, back with the energy thing and the size thing, they probably got as big as they potentially could with animals like Argentinosaurus. Because even that's kind of like pushing it. Whoops, what did I do? There we go. Is it true that T-Rex could reach 15 tons? You see, again, same topic. I don't really know. Mathematically speaking, possibly, and it's possible that Goliath might have been close to that, but that's only a single femur, and Goliath could have just had thick thighs, so it's difficult to say. Again, it's difficult for animals to be large, and especially predatory animals. Sauropods, they're able to pull it off because they eat plants. Plants are plentiful. All they have to do is stand in one spot and eat all the plants around them, and they save a lot of energy by doing that. T-Rex, it's not a plant eater. It needs to walk around constantly to try to find its next meal to keep itself going. So it's wasting a lot more energy by trying to do that. That's why the scavenger hypothesis doesn't make sense. A big animal cannot waste that much energy trying to find food, trying to find scraps of food. If T-Rex was like, I'm going on a tangent now. Anyway, I don't know, 15 pounds or 15 tons, that's definitely up there. That is a huge size estimate, and it might be possible. Dinosaurs surprise us all the time, but I'm just not too sure if it realistically did exist. Anyway, tangent over. I had a shower thought on something. If dinosaurs aren't copyrighted, then why are designs? I've never actually thought about the legality when it comes to dinosaur designs, because take for example though the primitive war T-Rex does look very similar to the Jurassic Park T-Rex. There's a lot of other T-Rex designs out there that look just like the Jurassic Park T-Rex. So I honestly don't know what the grounds are for that. Opinion on Symbospondylus. Okay, I'm gonna have to refresh my memory on that one. Oh, it's an ichthyosaur. It was a long ichthyosaur, I'll tell you that. I like ichthyosaurs. Ichthyosaurs are really fascinating. My buddy Armin, he dug up a lot of ichthyosaurs before, and he wrote about them in his book. They're really cool animals. Their name is also funny to me. Fish lizard. They're neither fish nor lizards. They're marine reptiles, but they're not lizards. It's really fascinating stuff. Do you think that a Triceratops could take down 2 full-grown Rexes if it was super experienced? Maybe, but I'm sure it wouldn't really want to do that. If it was being attacked by 2 of them, and I'm sure it'd probably have no choice. But so yeah, maybe. Anything's possible, especially with the millions of years that those animals existed. A lot of things probably happened that we don't know about. I just got a chicken the other day, and I studied that chickens are related to sauropods. Is this true, or what do you think? Well, chickens are related to all dinosaurs. They are very closely related to sauropods because chickens are actually theropod dinosaurs. And both theropods and sauropods are Saurischian dinosaurs, which means that they're very closely related to each other, which means that T-Rex is closely related to sauropod dinosaurs. So yes, chickens, they are closely related to sauropods, but in the sense that chickens are also dinosaurs. Chickens are just related to all dinosaurs because they are dinosaurs themselves. Who is my favorite paleo artist? I have a lot of favorite paleo artists. I like Gabriel Ugueto. I like Mark Witten. I like Mario Lanzas. Uh, yeah, way more than that. Julio Cerda, all kinds. Triceratops could eat meat from time to time. It potentially could. To supplement its diet with an extra source of protein. Happens all the time in nature today. Which megatheropod do you think could hunt Shantungosaurus more effectively, Tyrannosaurus or Giganotosaurus? Well, that's probably Tyrannosaurus, if we're being honest. It is very adapted for going after heavy-hitting prey like that. Carcharodontosaurus, or sorry, what did you say? Giganotosaurus, they were likely adapted for eating sauropods, but one thing that a lot of people forget is that they probably didn't go after the big sauropods. They probably went after like the easier to get ones. And honestly, T-Rex probably did the same thing. But out of those two, I think the T-Rex would have the better chance of trying to actually hunt something like Shantungosaurus. But even that, if you ask me, kind of sounds like suicide, especially if it's like a fully grown Shantungosaurus, because that big animals, really big animals. Have you seen that short that starts out saying your favorite dinosaur is a T-Rex? Well, that's nice. Mine's a Quetzal. I can't spell the rest. It's a great song. I think I have seen that. I think some people tagged me in that. Can you tell me what classes I need to take for paleontology and what school should I go to? I live in Georgia and I don't think anything like that is around where I am. So my school that I'm going to doesn't have any specific classes on paleontology either. Rather, what I'm doing is going for biology with a minor in geology. If you can just focus on biology and geology, then you will be qualified for paleontology, because those are two parts of paleontology that are very important. You can focus on whichever one you're more passionate in. Like, I prefer biology. I started off in geology, but I didn't like geology as much, and so now I'm focusing on biology, but I'm also minoring in geology. That way I have that added experience. That is, if I ever finish school, because it's expensive. But yeah, no, just focus on that stuff. Because there's not a lot of schools out there that have dedicated paleontology programs. Most paleontologists who go to school, they have like a master's in geology or something like that. Now, a school near me does actually have a degree that focuses on evolutionary biology, which is a lot closer to it, something that paleontology is more suited for. But that's still rare. You don't find there's not a lot of them across the country that have stuff like that. If you're able to find something, definitely go for it. But do you know if Princeton University teaches paleontology? Probably. I feel like I've talked to someone who went there. I don't know. They might. Here, let me check real quick. Geosciences. Geosciences major. They probably do. I'm not going to dig too much, but it looks like they might have more of an emphasis on something like that that's a little bit more related to what you're looking into. T-Rex versus Giga versus Spino. I always go for the heaviest, T-Rex. Favorite cartoons as a kid. I liked a lot of cartoons as a kid, but one of my favorite cartoons in general, it's weird calling it a cartoon, but that's the Clone Wars, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Great show. What is your opinion on the Jurassic World Rebirth Spino? Because Spinosaurus has a very skinny head, and in the movie the head is the exact opposite. Yeah, it's a mixed bag of a design. It's grown on me over time, that's for sure, but it's definitely not really accurate. It's an amalgam, just like the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. There are elements about it that are accurate, like the tail and the sail is pretty good. The arms are pretty decent, but that head is different. It's like you said, it's actually a lot more blocky than Spinosaurus's head truly was in life, and the snout shape isn't quite correct. It's well, here, give me 1 second. You'll notice this snout shape right here, it's actually a lot more elongated as it goes down right here, and it's very jagged as it rushes up here. Now, Spinosaurus did have this notch in its jaw, but it was a little bit more deep than how it's portrayed right here, and it was a little bit more rounded on the tip of the snout, which is not really portrayed right here. It's also very blocky back here, which is not how it was in real life. Noah, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it, dude. Ohio State University has a good paleontology program. Well, that's sick. That is sick. Yeah, there's some across the country that do have it. Those are great ones to go to if you're interested in paleontology, but unfortunately the vast majority of schools don't have a focus on paleontology, so you have to just go for something that's paleontology adjacent, and you'll still qualify for paleontology if you decide to get a job in the field. But again, you don't need a degree to be involved in the field. You don't need that. You can also work in collections. You don't need a degree to be in collections. Fossil prep, you don't need a degree for that. I'll be going through training for that as well, which, and a lot of people consider those folks paleontologists as well. You don't need a degree to get into paleontology. That's a myth, I suppose. It helps, and it makes it confirms that you know what you're talking about, but it's not required. And if, spending money always is unfortunate. What are your thoughts on the Dilophosaurus returning in Dominion? I just wish it was large. I wish it was 8 feet tall. I wish that they would stop being cowards and make it large. Because man, the first movie, they had it set up that could have potentially been a juvenile Dilophosaurus. Now, Nedry said, I thought you were one of your bigger brothers. There's like a larger sound in the distance that sounds like a fully grown Dilophosaurus. They could have just said that this was a juvenile. But every single time it comes up in later films and shows, it's small. Eventually, we could stop using that excuse. It's like, what are the odds that we're only seeing juveniles all this time? I need a large Dilophosaurus, man. I just want to see a large one. Now it's too late to make the Dilophosaurus bigger. It might be, honestly. I thought that we were going to get a bigger one in Rebirth. I think it was just a perspective thing in the trailers, but I thought the one that was at the Parasaurolophus corpse was going to be a large one, but then when we saw the movie, it was another small one. How tall were Dilophosaurus? I never really learned. About 8 feet tall. So 2 feet taller than me. Pretty big. They were big. I mean, I think they were meant to fight the raptors. Maybe that's why they were small. They never fought any raptors. They were small, I think, just to differentiate them from other dinosaurs. Because you have a small one, like the Dilophosaurus, then you have a medium-sized one, the Velociraptor, then you have the large one, the T-Rex. So you have 3 different theropods that are all kind of like unique and different in their own way. If you made the Dilophosaurus larger, it'd be closer to the Velociraptor in the movie. But even Stan Winston Studios in the behind-the-scenes information said that, yeah, this could be a younger one, of course they never fought the Velociraptors, but would you be upset if they made a Dilophosaurus that was T-Rex sized? Probably. I need my happy medium. I need an 8 foot tall Dilophosaurus. Velociraptors in the movie were probably the right size and shape if the proper name was used that is based on Deinonychus. Oh, there's actually still bigger than Deinonychus was. Like, significantly bigger than Deinonychus was. Deinonychus, it was bigger than Velociraptor, but it was still relatively small. It was about the same size as like a jaguar in terms of height, so it was still smaller than us, of course. They just scaled it up to make it more terrifying, and as an added bonus, people can actually fit in the suit. Now, I prefer the Jurassic Park novel one than the movie Dilophosaurus. I agree. It was It was closer to the correct size in the novel. What just happened? There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Sweet. Okay. Everything froze for a minute. Let me get caught up for a minute here. There we go. What do I do at the museum? I just got finished up with the training of being a paleontology interpreter. I do tours, and I'm going to get started on training for the proprietor work, which means I'm going to sit there and slowly chip away at a rock to get fossils out of it. It's very fun stuff. I love it there, though. I get to spend all my time near the fossils and everything. Who do you think would win between an adolescent T-Rex and a short-faced bear? I have no idea. Could a book accurate Jurassic Park movie work? Maybe. I just don't think that they would do it. I don't think they would ever do that. You know, it's just they've already committed to the PG-13 movies. I don't think we're ever gonna get an R-rated movie, and I don't think we're gonna get like a remake of the movie. Which museum? The Morrison Museum of Natural History. How is the T-Rex, the Sioux T-Rex in Eophonomano? I personally love the torso bulk, which perfectly fits the actual bulk proportional to the Sioux specimen, but the Exoparia, rather rictus, is quite confusing. Yeah, so yeah, they were kind of quick to the punch with that. They kind of like covered the rictus with, cheeks. Kind of makes it look like she has jowls, but the reason why that is because they still had like the mechanism to open it. All around, it's a good portrayal. It matches the skeleton very nicely. The colors are very good. Like they took a lot of inspiration from actual reptiles to do the colors, and they look great. Um, the only thing I have with it is the fact that it does look like it has jowls. But again, that's only so that you can open and close the jaw, so it looks kind of strange. The rictus being covered is that might be true. More researchers are kind of like leaning into like T-Rex and other theropods actually having cheeks instead of an exposed rictus, which is certainly really interesting. So they might be correct with that. Would you be angry if the next Jurassic World movie, Jurassic movie, there were T-Rex-sized Utahraptors, so they scaled right with the Velociraptors and not the people? I would be angry with that. I think Utahraptor is cool the way that it is. Do you know of anyone that makes models of the Crystal Palace statues? I don't, unfortunately. And what do you think that Spinosaurus is? I'm building my own, by the way, but Spinosaurus used the sail for. I personally think it might have been had multiple uses, such as mating, species recognition, balanced swimming, and camouflage. So you're pretty much right on the money when it comes to like the consensus. It likely did have multiple uses. It probably wasn't used for thermal regulation because it doesn't have the proper blood vessels that run through it to actually do that. So that's, we can axe that. But in terms of like display, that's likely. Display is very common for outward structures like that. I know everybody likes to make fun of paleontologists for stating that a certain structure is possibly used for display, but if you look at animals in nature today, whenever they have like outward structures, it's used as display first and foremost, and then for something else secondarily. So that's probably likely. In terms of like balancing in the water, that's kind of unlikely. The sail was probably more of a hindrance to the animal in the water than it would have been a help. There's been a lot of models done on Spinosaurus that show its swimming capabilities, and it shows that sail probably would have caused it kind of like capsize and then become a little bit, it's a little bit too top heavy. So it's likely mostly used for display and species recognition, which kind of falls under that display camp. Baby parvicursors, the size of Argentinosaurus, adults confirmed for Jurassic World 8. Source, trust me. Good. I trust. Did you realize that the Rebirth Rex resembles the CGI model of the JP Rexes? I haven't seen anyone talk about it. Kind of. It's way bulkier than those ones. Like a lot bulkier, and it has a few different changes about it. How sad is it that Cryo, Ostro, and Duck are cut into Jurassic World Evolution 3? Yes! I didn't even realize that Cryolophosaurus was cut until you just said that. Dang. Now I'm sad. Did T-Rex live with Shantung? No. Shantungosaurus they lived in Asia during the late Cretaceous. The Tyrannosaur that lived with it was Jucheng tyrannus, which is another large tyrannosaurid that could potentially hunt it from time to time. Do you think paleo accuracy should be a requirement when making a dinosaur show or movie? I personally think it depends if it's something more like Jurassic Park or Prehistoric Planet. It depends on the project, of course. Some projects, obviously, I don't think they should really lean into that. Dead sounds a good example of, I think, how to properly utilize it. He doesn't ignore paleo accuracy. In fact, he really focuses on it for a decent portion. But if he needs to make it not accurate for the story, well, he doesn't. He doesn't do that. He doesn't let it be a hindrance to the story. Because obviously, when it comes to movies and shows, storytelling is one of the most important things. Your audience needs to be entertained. So he has a guideline of accuracy. His designs are obviously accurate. But if he wants Iguanodon to live with Megalosaurus in his Terrible Lizard short, then he's going to do that because that's better for the story, the story that was being told, which is the evolution of these two animals throughout history. Like initially he was going to have like the Iguanodon vanish right in front of the Megalosaurus, but he just thought that looked a little bit goofy, so he just made it so that Iguanodon was just still there, even though Iguanodon and Megalosaurus did not live together. They didn't live at the same time at all. So yeah, he does kind of like forfeit accuracy if it helps the story. I think that's the best way to do it. A lot of companies and studios, they don't use accuracy at all. Instead, they're just like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and we're just going to call it good there. I think 65 is a good example of that because it kind of feels like they really didn't... It kind of feels like there wasn't really that much emphasis placed on, like... they don't look anything like the actual animals, so it doesn't really feel like they use that guideline. Accuracy, I think, should be the template that can be built off of if need be. I'm rambling too. Thoughts on Jucheng tyrannus? Oh, that's a cool tyrannosaur. We're learning a little bit more about it. More fossils have been discovered. T-Rex at age 14 to 15 were around 15 feet long, 500, 1,800 kilograms. Within age 15 to 18 tons, they would have a growth spurt, which at 20, youngest adults were 35 to 40 feet long. 40 is definitely pretty large. 8 to 9 tons with minimal bulk. Walking with Dinosaurs 2025. Yeah, most of that is pretty on spot. Opinion on the largest inhabitant of Turkana? Grits. It's not Titanovator, and it should be a surprise. I'm not too sure if I know that one either, honestly. Now I'm kind of like falling behind on messages too. Turok was more accurate than 65. Yeah, I'd probably say that it probably was. It's just, I don't know. I always have a sense of appreciation when accuracy is placed into something, but obviously it's not really required per se. Just, whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying. Favorite dinosaur from every dinosaur family. I don't know about family because there's a lot of families out there, but I can say like specific groups. Like let's say favorite hadrosaur is Edmontosaurus, favorite theropod, Spinosaurus, favorite ceratopsian. Well, okay, favorite. Great. Now I'm breaking my own rules. I'd have to say like ornithopod if I'm doing theropod. I guess we'll just say ceratopsian. Pachyrhinosaurus, favorite sauropod, Alamosaurus. Favorite Pachycephalosaurus. Some cool ones. I got so pissed when I saw the Ankylosaur in Primitive War. Yeah. It's what's the difference between T-Rex and Jucheng tyrannus, despite just size? Well, their location is a big one. We don't have a lot of fossil material of Jucheng tyrannus, so we don't have a good idea of what it really looked like. So in terms of like skeletal differences, that's difficult to state. It was probably very similar to T-Rex given the size of it, but the location is definitely the biggest difference between them. I was in the wrong. I was in the wrong time in the stream, so I didn't. I don't know if you answered this already. So anyway, I had a shower thought on something. If dinosaurs aren't copyrighted, then why are designs? Yeah, I did answer that. I don't even know if they are, because Primitive War used a lot of Jurassic World designs. I love cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is very fun. It's a very fun thing to dive into. What are your thoughts on Rubigia, Inostransavia, Dinogorgon, and Gorgonops? Oh, so Inostransavia, they're Gorgonopsids. They are they're awesome animals. Inostransavia is one of my favorite extinct animals in general. Noah, thank you for joining the membership. I appreciate that. You get access to early videos now, which is always fun. I need some cute Triceratops facts for my SO. So some cute Triceratops facts. What is a cute Triceratops fact? Let's see here. Well, when Triceratops when they were babies, of course, they were very tiny. But they also, I don't know if this is considered cute, but they also looked like little aliens when they were babies, because they had like really reduced proportions and these huge bugged out eyes. It's amazing. Their horns were also significantly reduced, and they had a very small frill. They would grow into the adults. But I think that baby Triceratops are cute. I know a lot of people think that they look terrifying, but I think they're cute personally. Oh, what do we have here? Mr. Wenapon, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Do you think 65 be a little better? Do I think it could be? I think that it could be if they applied different things to it. But I didn't really like it too much. They're cute little gremlins. Exactly! They are cute little gremlins. I like them. I like them. They are so cute. I don't know what it is about it. Now it's frozen. No, it's not. Why did it do that? Okay. I gotta make sure I'm not going over time over the 2. I hope Torosaurus returns in JWE3. I hope so too. Every day I get reminded of a few more things that are probably not going to make the cut. Sinosauropteryx, Nothosaurus, Archelon, Shonisaurus. This is a terrible world we live in. Pretty ironic because there is a ceratopsian named Gremlin. True, there is. I 100% could defeat a short-faced bear by lying down and accepting defeat. I beat myself and thus won. True. True. I was summoned. Hello, Pokesaurus. How we doing, man? Do you think the Triceratops could beat Shantung? Maybe. Depends on the circumstance. Can you discuss about Jack Horner's contribution to the dinosaur renaissance? I know that everybody likes to give Jack Horner a lot of flack for some of the things, but he did contribute a lot to paleontology. One big thing that he helped out with is, of course, our understanding of dinosaur parents. With his description of Egg Mountain, which is this huge nesting site of a lot of Maiasaura nests with the mothers and babies of various different ages. They are, it helped us understand that not all dinosaurs, some of them would care for their young, which is just very important. So yes, he has contributed a lot to paleontology. There's like other things that he's helped with too. Hopefully my phone doesn't die. Favorite Lambeosaurid? That would be Parasaurolophus. I like those guys. I have a skull back there somewhere. Hot take, I think I could beat a Pachycephalosaurus. Wait, what did I just... Pachycephalosaurus. Oh, and Mr. Wanapone, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, dude. I'll get to yours in just a second. I would dodge it, kick its ankle, jump scare it with a Nanotyrannus, then brawl it. Fair enough. Fair enough. What would you think is some dinosaurs survive the extinction by escape into the sea or escape into the cave system into an underground valley? Some might have, but they probably wouldn't. I don't know about the sea, but in terms of like the cave system, I'm sure that some probably could have, but they probably wouldn't have survived too long afterwards. What was so devastating about the asteroid impact is that it didn't really kill everything at once. It killed a lot of things at once. Everything that was close to it, it killed instantaneously, but it set off a chain reaction of events that slowly caused the extinction of the non-bird dinosaurs. That includes like a lot of environmental changes. The sun was blocked, of course. A lot of the plants died. By extension, a lot of the herbivores died. By extension, a lot of the carnivores died. So it was, you know, maybe if they survived the initial strike, they wouldn't survive much longer afterwards. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Hey, Nanotyrannus jump scaring is my thing. Let me get caught up for a second. The saddest thought is pterosaurs getting burning holes in their wings due to raining glass. Ooh, yeah. And that has been portrayed a few times in media as well. How many people would it take to kill a triceratops? A lot. I don't have an exact number, but a lot. Can I do Rugops facts? I don't know too much about Rugops. It's got a thick skull, I can tell you that. Like the nasal portion, I think was pretty. Either that or was Scorpio Venator. It probably had a pretty thick skull. It was an abelosaurid that lived in like around the Chem beds, which means that it lived, you know, near Spinosaurus, lived near Carcharodontosaurus, and it probably filled a niche of like going after the smaller animals. It's a pretty cool abelosaurid that it'd be cool if we knew more about it. 100 men or one Tyrannosaurus Rex? Oh, geez, I don't know. I'm not going to fall into those debates anymore. The gorilla one made me angry. Maybe the T-Rex? I don't know. How many mass extinctions were there other than the dinosaur extinction event? There was about 4 other mass extinctions, not including the non-avian dinosaur extinction. What's my favorite dinosaur Pokemon? That would be Tyrantrum. It's awesome. People who have met Jack Horner in real life told me about him stealing money and projects from coworkers. So yeah, to hell with him. Ooh, I didn't know about that. I know about a few other things that are not so great about him, but yeah. I have a theory. What if the primitive war T-Rexes are Sue and Scotty? That'd be interesting. That's a fun little thought to have. Have you heard there's 2 dinosaurs described today, Eudetitan and a sauropod from the late Cretaceous of North America, and Brontotholus, a pachycephalosaur whose name means Thunderdome. And that just happened today, huh? I haven't seen it yet, no, because I've been mostly doing content-related stuff today. T-Rex definitely has the strongest bite in land animals, but it's whether powerful enough to decapitate head of prey dinosaurs. Yeah, it could. There's evidence that it did that to Triceratops, because the Triceratops skull really wouldn't have too much meat on it, so it's likely it would just pull its head off to get it out of the way so it can focus on the meaty shoulders and everything. Mr. Wanapone, thank you for the donation again, man. I appreciate that. By the way, I've seen your video completing Oakwood. Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad I finally finished it. I am. It took forever.